This is what I think. I have a feeling that I am not the only black woman who agrees. Now, Vivian Stevens was an associate editor when she was given responsibility for Dell's romance, I think it was Candlelight imprint, because Dell did not care about romance. In those days, yes, I had to come back, and the light has changed. Oh, and let me turn things off. Yeah, so Vivian Stevens was given that responsibility for that particular imprint, because in those days, romance was not particularly popular for American publishers. Most romance books were bought from Mills and Boon, which was a British publishing house, which is a British, I don't know what they were, if they were a distributor or what. But anyway, they were British, and so were their writers. And it was mostly like these, the really twee Regency romances, historical romances. And then here comes Vivian Stevens, who I think she was like 44. She's given responsibility for this as an associate editor for Candlelight. And what does she do? She goes looking through the slush pile. She finds Sandra Brown. She finds Jane Ann Krentz, two authors who became powerhouse romantic writers, best-selling authors. I think Jane Ann Krentz is still around under the name Jane Castle. I'm not sure Sandra Brown is or not. She also published the first, as far as we know, of all time, book starring a black couple, which was written by, I think, Rosemary Wells. I'm going to get the name. I think that name is wrong. But she was a writer for Newsweek. She was a journalist. What she'd done was she realized that maybe contemporary women want to read about themselves. Maybe they don't want to read about Regency England. Maybe they want maybe they want jobs, and they want to meet hot dudes at work. And so she figured that out and started cultivating American writers. And not only cultivating American writers, but American writers who are able to pay their bills with their writing. So I think she established also Ecstasy, yeah, because she did establish it, which turned the heat quotient up quite a bit. And the books sold like hotcakes. Now, they had a problem. The writers came to her at the writers' conference after a workshop and were like, oh, they just don't treat us very nice, blah, 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 blah. They don't take us seriously. And she's like, well, what you need is your own conference. And so what does she do? She gets Dell to fund it. She gets publishers to show up. She does all the stuff that you do to found an organization. And there were 8 other women there who are also involved. Another black woman, at least 2 Latino women, and that was the beginning, the Romance Writers of America. Suddenly, Dell is making money hand over fist with romance. And then, I can't remember the name of the company, I think it's the American version of Mills and Boon, but basically, she goes over to them in New York and creates Harlequin for them. And she juices up the Harlequin line. I think she created Desire. I am not sure. But here's what I do know, is that the romance novel industry exists in this country as it does today because of one black woman, Vivian Stevens. And the organization of writers exists today because of one black woman, Vivian Stevens. Now, let me tell you, those books generally edited by white women. The industry itself the gatekeeping is very much white women. So what happened? Did this new renaissance begin with Vivian? We now know that, there are other people who know things that could really, really be profitable for us as companies. And now let's find that where are some more Vivian Stevens? Who are her friends that we can hire? No. Vivian Stevens left Dell, and very slowly behind her, it became extremely white again. And when she left Harlequin under some, I don't know exactly what the story was there. I would love to know one day. When she left Harlequin, she never pulled the ladder up behind herself. She was always trying to make space for more diversity in authors and in editors. And every time she left, white women said no. So the RWA leadership, which was begun, an organization founded by a black woman, its leadership within 10 years entirely white for decades afterward. The books themselves entirely white until, like, I think Beverly Jenkins came along, and she had to sell her books out of her car because that's how much her publishing house believed in her. So we didn't really see a renaissance in black women writing romance novels until self-publishing came along. And that tells me something about how white women feel about romance. They own romance and romantic desire and the right to be the objects of both. Look around, especially in the 90s and the 2000s, at the romantic comedies. All of America's sweethearts were white, with the exception of Jennifer Lopez. I grew up reading these books. So I'm like 15 years old devouring these romance novels, right? And, you know, diversity was a brunette as a heroine. So now we live in this time where it's more okay to date interracially, where white women have sort of established themselves or have been established by culture, by tradition as the desirable ones, the ones that all men desire. Black, white, Asian, whatever, they are the prize. And suddenly, black women start to seem good looking to not just black men or men of other races, but white men too. Let me tell you something. I've been in situations where I have told men to stop talking about me because of I used to go to this creatives group, and there's a guy there, and he's like, I keep saying this, how much better this group is with you, because I'd been sick and I hadn't been there in a while. And I keep saying how much better it is with you and how I miss you and blah, blah, blah. And I couldn't figure what was going on. There was like a weird vibe when I came back to the group that I couldn't quite understand. One of the women, you know, she wanted to be my friend. She wanted to be my friend. The other one wanted to seem like she wanted to be my friend, but she didn't really like me that much. But both had treated me fairly nicely. But there was ice on the water when I got back. And then later on, he tells me that he's been like, I just really missed her. I wish she'd be here. And what I have learned over time is that white women's jealousy, white women's sexual jealousy in particular, is especially dangerous for black women because they will obliterate us. Because their role in life, remember, from the time that they're tiny, they are taught how to appeal and please and to get the attention of men. And suddenly they're turning to us